What's up, everybody? Welcome to Global Comic Safari, Episode 6. I am Jon Z from Tales from FlipSide, and with me, as always, is Matt Roybal. Today, we're going to discuss... Hey, how you doing this morning? Afternoon, evening. God, what are we doing today?
Afternoon, evening. I don't know. This is our second try, John.
It's true. I got through half the recording before we realized I didn't hit record, so that was fun. But we're going to try it again, and you're going to get a revised, cleaned-up edition. So,
yep.
Today's episode is Swamp Thing 1. So we're going to get to that. We just want to touch base on a couple other things. So check out CBSI.com, comicbookinvest.com for any of your comic book investing articles, just highlights of all kinds of good things, pickups, dollar bin digging. So list of things down in the description, but check them out. All kinds of fun stuff there. I had told Matt I was real depressed because I thought I was getting in the mail the AF-15s we talked about last week. Man. They came really quick from Turkey. I was like, man, they're in Indiana. I'm almost got them, and they got caught in the post office. So I'll get them tomorrow.
I hate that. On Sunday, and they're hanging out there on Sunday.
Yeah, this is the one we talked about with the great Gwen cover and the awesome retro Turkey back cover. But since I didn't get that, I got looking at their site to see what else there was. And there was about a half dozen variants to this from the Turkish edition, which you can get at the Parallel Universe, Paralel Evren.
Evren. Yeah, I don't know how to say that.
I tried it this week. I'll have their link to their eBay and their store in the bio. But the original edition is awesome. For any of you guys that are completists, finding a Turkish one is probably pretty cool to add to the collection. I know it's a modern, but it looks really nice. The other one that I was looking at stuck out to me was this set. There's the color and the black and white by the artist whose name was Cinar.
Cinar.
There was 750 of the color and 500 of the black and white. The art just really stuck to me with him kind of in this upside down crazy pose. Really kind of bright colors though, and a distinct background. And I like just the art style. He's real kind of thin, we said, and just kind of
sinewy.
Sinewy is the word you used. and I thought it's almost Campbellish, but a little different twist. So it really caught my eye. So if you're looking for a cool Spider-Man cover that nobody else is going to have, this is a good one.
That's a cool one. Yeah.
Nobody else is going to be hunting from Turkey. So if you want to pull out one that nobody else has seen, that's it.
Yeah.
So one other thing we wanted to talk about, and we forgot the first time, so that's awesome. We're going to talk about it this time. Yeah. Is we had a find from our Iron Man 1 set episode. They found the poster.
They found the poster. You know, I asked all over. I mean, I asked in the Brazilian groups. I asked my Brazilian friends. I was like, where is this freaking poster? So Maria Lisa, a viewer and a member of our group, she knew that I was looking for this damn poster. And she hit me up in the group and she said, hey, Matt, guess what? Remember that poster that you've never seen and no one's ever seen? I found one, and she posted this picture. And remember, we were talking about that, John. We're like, it must have been a small poster because the Brazilian block Hoem de Ferro 1 is pretty. You know, it's not digest, but it's smaller.
It was a small book.
That's what they did. They folded it into fourths, and it's super cool.
Did she say where it was? Was it inside?
There was some debate, I guess.
Oh, because she only found it loose.
Yeah, I guess this publisher had done some stuff where they actually wrapped posters around the book or connected them to the book on the outside. So there was some debate as to whether this poster was inside or outside, but I think it was loose inside.
Well, I can see why it didn't last because it's a pretty sweet poster.
It's a sweet-ass poster. What is that, Layton? Is that a Bob Layton? I don't know the artist. Is it Layton?
Maybe, or it could be a redraw.
Yeah, I'm not sure where that's from, but I
But
like
if
the
I found it, it'd be
brown.
on my wall.
Yeah, it's super sweet. So one of the top Brazilian guys. So there's a lot of hardcore Brazilian collectors. This was I think I always forget. I don't want to massacre his name, but he was saying he thought that this poster might be as rare as like out of every like maybe 30 or 40 copies, only one would have a poster still. I mean, we're talking pretty rare as far as the poster world. I used to think Australian Newton posters were rare. You can get an Australian Newton with a poster. You just got to wait a little bit. But this one is one that's so freaking rare that even Brazilian collectors, a lot of them, had never seen it. So
So who
that's a
found
big
this image
deal.
for us?
Maria Lisa.
All right, she been mentioned on we've mentioned her on the show before. So
Yes, yeah, she's a viewer. She's awesome. She's out of Portugal. One of these days, if I ever make it to Portugal, we're gonna go party.
I dig
She's
that
gonna take
poster.
us
I'm
out
telling you,
partying.
I don't know
Yeah,
why. It's the brown and the orange. It's a
it's
pretty
super
poster.
sweet.
I don't know why.
It's a cool ass poster. I would love to find this poster out in the wild somewhere and have it because without it, your book is incomplete. In essence, you don't got the poster; it's incomplete.
Oh, all these people that will be sad, but we've
Very
shown you one at
sad.
least.
Yeah. So you've seen one. If you're interested, go back to the Iron Man 1 show and you can learn all about it. On top of that, as well, I wanted to throw a shout out to Tim Bildhauser. Um, Not only is the Mexican Swamp Thing image one his protocol on the different format sizes of Navaro, and we're going to get into the format sizes of Navaro here for a little bit. So I want to throw a shout out to Tim Bildhauser. I also want to thank a guy by the name of Jon E Boylan. He has a website called rootsoftheswampthing.com, and this guy's a hardcore swampy collector. He's got foreigns. He's got it all. And I'd like to throw a shout out to him because I use some of his images from his site as well as used his site for research. If you're a swampy hardcore freak and you want to research Swamp Thing, rootsoftheswampthing.com is the way to go. In fact, the dude actually publishes a Swamp Thing zine.
Wow.
So he's hardcore. So I want to call him out for sure. Yeah, thanks to those guys, and I love this set. Look at that! Look at that set. It's small, but
A
it's
lot of
powerful.
variety in this one.
Yeah, there's plenty of differences for sure. And it's some people might think, why didn't you do Haas 92? Well, there's even less foreign House of Secrets 92s than there are of the Swampy One. And for me personally, though I love the House of Secrets 92, when I think in my mind of an iconic Swamp Thing cover, I always think of issue one. This cover is it's badass, dude.
I agree. It's got House Secrets is a great cover, black, all that. This just has a
Yeah.
lot more to appreciate.
I dig how he's just coming out of the water. I mean the detail that Bernie put into this.
Yeah.
This is amazing.
All right. So as always, we're going to start with the American. Just give you a view, just so you can see it and take some contrasts and just some facts about it. Swamp Thing 1, Volume 1, DC Comics, November 1972. Bernie Wrightson. Len Wein did the story, and Wrightson did the cover and the interior. He also did House Secrets 92 and the original story. House of Secrets was 18 months prior, and so it took a little while to kind of get the ball rolling on this guy, but
Yeah.
well worth the wait. Beautiful cover, beautiful kind of start to a classic character.
Oh yeah, totally.
As we kind of talked about earlier, Wrightson is he's the king of kind of pop horror. He made DC horror, and his artwork, the original art, is going nuts. Some of his books are nuts. House Secrets 92 is nuts. His original art for the Frankenstein graphic novel, which was a wraparound piece, which was big, sold for over $1 million not that long ago.
That's crazy. That's some freaking coin,
That's
man.
big money. Like that's you're approaching the Frazetta type stuff there.
Yeah, you're in big boy land.
It's a beautiful piece, but I'm telling you, that's a lot.
That's a lot of money. Well, but I think it can garner it. I think you could argue that Wrightson could be one of the top horror artists for comic books of all time. Could be argued.
And that Frankenstein book is his kind of like grand masterpiece.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. It's beautiful. I mean, you're not going to go far in comics without talking about Wrightson.
No, absolutely not.
And classic covers like this.
No, beautiful, beautiful book, and the whole run's got some just outstanding stuff going on in it.
Oh yeah, every freaking cover that Wrightson did for this series is a work of art.
Absolutely.
I mean, this art. I mean, it almost feels as if you were a observer, kind of walking up on this guy with a woman who was clearly doing something bad with him, and the fact that you don't see Swampy's face from the front, I actually kind of like that. You know, later in the run, you see more detailed images of Swamp Thing, but this one, just the way he's coming out of the water, the detail of the water kind of just coming off of it's just awesome.
And I just want to talk CGC census because we like to add that data. A little over 2,300 of them graded. 3 of them in 9.8, 24 in 9.6. So not an impossible book by any means. It's got the deep purple color. It's not a super old book in 72, so there's probably enough of them got taken care of, but still a beautiful book if you can find a nice looking copy.
And you think about this too, John. For all those Swampy fans that can't afford a Haas 92, they're hunting the next best thing, which is just Swampy Thing 1.
Yeah, I know you can get a reasonable copy in the $100-$200 range. You
don't have to spend a fortune. You'll get something that presents well.
Yeah,
raw.
Absolutely.
And great book.
Absolutely, it is a nice, well-priced book for a great piece.
Yep.
And so we're going to jump to what, in my opinion, looks like the closest to the original.
Yes.
Start there. And
Mexico!
The good old Mexican. We seem to feature one of those every time.
Yep, we sure do. This is the Mi Gran Aventura, La Criatura del Pantano. I'm not sure what that means. The creature of the swamp is what I'm thinking it means, but I don't know. This was published on October of 1975 by Navaro in the series Avestruz format. We'll get to the formats here in just a little bit. This book is full color, and the interior art is handled wonderfully. It contains Swamp Thing 1, the full story, and I mean, look at that. That's one of my favorite panels from Swampy 1 is this panel. It's just awesome. Swampy stopping this car, and that guy's just flying through the window with his hand in the air. And you'll notice the Mexican it's a little different in hue, but the Mexicans the print quality is very, very nice. If not, even in a weird way, a little darker.
Yeah.
So I feel like you can see the contrast of the guy flying out of the car even better than in the American.
I would agree.
Yeah. So, okay. So this format is in the avestruz, which means ostrich in Spanish. And the thing with this format, so these are the 3 formats. Navaro had 4, but let's talk about the first 3. The first format is a revista. Now the revista is the Mexican Haas 92, the Navaro Haas 92. That is in the revista format. The revista format is basically what we would think of as your standard kind of American comic book size. Then you go next to the avestruz, which means ostrich in Spanish. Revista basically means like journal or magazine or that in Spanish. Avestruz is ostrich. The avestruz ostrich size is basically the same height as your revista, but half an inch shorter on one side. Navaro did this to save on paper costs. Then the next size down is
that's the size of the Swamp Thing 1.
Yes, the Swamp Thing 1 is in the avestruz, so that would be the ostrich. That's the one right in the middle. And then the next size down is the Aguila, that is the eagle. And then there's another format after that, but we'll get to that in a second. Let's talk on the different formats here real quick. So the Revista size measures 10-inch high by 7-inch wide. So it's about the standard American comic book. The Avestruz is 10-inch high by 6.5 wide. So they chopped 1/2 inch off the side. Now, in order to fit it into the book, Navaro had to shrink the panels down. So there's a little bit of a gap on top and bottom. And if I remember correctly, on some of the panels, or on some of the pages, they fill that space with detail and some other stuff. I can't remember right off the top of my head exactly, but they did have to shrink the art a little bit. So that sort of sucks with that format. And then when we get to the next format, the Aguila, which is the eagle, is 7 3/4 high by 5.5 inches wide. So that is your kind of digest size. Now, Navaro did another format called the Colibri. Do you know what Colibri means in Spanish?
I do not.
Hummingbird. The Colibri is so freaking small, it can fit in the palm of your hand like a hummingbird. I don't have an example of that. We're going to have to show one. But it's crazy. When you see Colibris, you're like, what the fuck were they thinking? And the crazy thing about those is you don't see them so often. I think because they didn't survive. They were so little, even smaller in a digest size, like I said.
Yeah.
Fits right in the palm of your hand. So that's crazy. So those are your 4 format sizes for Navaro. Revista, Avestruz, Aguila, and Colibri. And go back to the Mexican.
I'll never have the right bag and boards for those.
Yeah. So this one is in the Avestruz. So it's an ostrich. And if you look at your little graphic down there, you'll see a little ostrich.
Huh.
Okay. So this cover, they didn't hit the blacks as hard as they could. I've noticed this on a lot of the Mexican Navaro Swamp ones. For whatever reason, they just didn't hit the blacks as hard. And some people might consider that a negative. I don't. I feel like you can see more detail. You can see some of the more minute details. And I also think you can focus on the faces of the man and the woman better without the blacks being hit so hard. I feel like you can see the shock that Wrightson was trying to get through on their faces with the printer, with Navaro, having a kind of a lighter touch on the blacks. What do you think, John?
I see what you're saying on it. I mean, definitely the people in the background have a little more pop in them.
Watch, go back to the American and see if I'm just talking on my ass. See how it's kind of a little hard to kind of.
Yeah, they get a little lost
in the black or something.
Yeah.
And then, but with the Mexican, I feel like you can maybe see a little more detail. Maybe I'm just crazy. I don't know.
I get where you're at,
but I don't mind it. On some books, I mind it when they get hit not so hard on the blacks, but on this one, I don't mind it. I really love, and the Navaro format is so cool with the triangle up in the top, and I love Mexican Navaros, man.
Absolutely.
And this is a tough book. This is not an easy book to get. This is another one of those ones that if you see it, buy it.
Absolutely.
Because there's not a lot of these floating out there. This is probably the toughest of the set.
I could believe that. I mean, the other one's a little more traditional countries, and we're going to jump to the next one, which is the French.
Yes, the French. Now, the French one is called Spectral. I don't know how I'd say that in French. Spectral, maybe. I'm not exactly sure. I'm going to say it's Spectral. So this is the Spectral one, published by Ardette in January of 1974. This is a digest pocket-sized book. Do you see on the bottom in the lower right it says Comics Pocket?
Yeah.
So these are smaller. And on the set picture, we don't have all the books to take a full photo of them. So on the set picture, I just kind of, when I made it, I kind of shrunk it a little bit.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's accurate to all the sizes. But it's a pocket book. And the interiors on this one are black and white. I forgot to tell on the Mexican. The Mexican interiors are full color.
No, we
this
showed
one.
them.
Oh, did we? Yeah, well, I guess we did. Yeah, so the interiors on this one are black and white.
Which
And it
kind of
contains,
might be cool to read it that way, because his art would kind of just stand out. You
yeah,
wouldn't get all
with
the...
Wrightson art, his art does stand out in black and white. Yeah. And it includes, of course, the classic Swamp Thing 1 story, but it also has World's Finest 269, Justice League of America 186, Batman 348, and Batman 349.
Hmm.
Oh, wait, no, I sorry, wrong. I went to the wrong notes. This contains Swamp Thing 1, Showcase 80, Secrets of Sinister House 5, 2 stories from DC Ghosts 1. Now, the DC Ghosts 1, do you remember that cover, John?
I do not.
It's got there was like a wedding, like a guy was marrying
Oh,
a chick,
that
and
one.
she's
Yeah.
just a skull. So that's kind of cool. Sensation Mystery 112 and Sensation Comics 107. So this little pocketbook is thick. It's got a bunch of stories in it. And the fact that it has the Ghosts 1, or at least two stories from Ghosts 1, that kind of makes it a double key.
A little bit.
I mean, not that Ghosts 1 is that much of a key, but
It's a classic
kind
cover.
of, sort of. It's a classic cover. So that could be debated. But these French ones, they're not as tough to find. But you will wait around a little bit for one. I mean, I know someone was looking for one, and it took them about 6 months to a year to find one that they were happy with. A lot of times some of these books will be available, but everything that's available is just trashed. So this might be one of those that you can wait for a nicer copy, but if you're going to wait for a nicer copy, it's going to take you a while. Could be 6 months to a year before one pops up on French eBay. The best thing for this one, I think, would be to contact a French comic shop and have them do the hunting for you. But this is the Spectral 1, published by Ardette.
All right. So we're going to jump to slightly newer version.
Yep. This is kind of a neat cover. This is a Swedish Gigant #1. It was published by CMIC in 1983, and this book again is kind of like an anthology where there are a lot of stories in it. The interiors are black and white. It includes, of course, the classic Swamp Thing 1 story, but it also includes World's Finest 269, Justice League of America 186, Batman 348 and 349, and the Shadow 1, which I think makes this a double key.
I would go a little closer with this one than the other one.
Yeah, because it's the classic Shadow 1 from DC. And
he's on the cover.
And he's on the cover. So I'm going to say this is a double key. The thing about this one is they definitely altered the coloration of the art, and I'm not sure it's for the better.
They kind of cropped it a bit too.
They cropped it. They altered that coloring. One of the beautiful
dark now.
Yeah, like they took that yellow background. There was something really neat the way Swampy popped on the yellow, and they just colored it blue, which just kind of makes it all kind of blend into the entire cover.
I'm not sure it would have looked good on this cover layout, though.
Yeah, maybe they had a good reason for it. I love what they call him, Traskmannen. I'm sure I know I didn't say that right. Traskmannen.
No.
Our Swedish friends are gonna laugh at us, but yeah, cool book. And this one, it's printed later. And these Gigants, you can get them on Tradera. You just gotta spend a little time, create an account on Tradera, find a Swedish seller that's willing to ship to the U.S., or get someone from Sweden to help you. There's plenty of guys near there in the Nordic countries. This one you can find. You just need to put a little bit of work into it. This one's definitely on the easier side.
So we're going to do a little double take here.
Mm-hmm.
And just hop over to Norway, who happens
what am
to
I
have the
seeing?
same...
A twin. Yeah, this is the Norwegian Gigant 1, published by CMIC, same publisher, in 1983. And this book is exactly the same as the Swedish edition on the inside. The interiors are black and white. It includes the exact same stories. The only difference is some of the fonts and some of the language stuff is different because it's in Norwegian. In Norway,
the coloring's a little different.
And it is a tad bit different.
Swamp Thing's got a little more yellow in him.
Yep, exactly. Yep, he's not so blue, right?
Yeah.
And in Sweden they call him Traskmannen. Here they call him Sump Vestment.
I don't like that name. That doesn't
Sump,
sound.
yeah, Sump Vesemete.
That doesn't sound good at all.
But the same thing with this one. It's an easier one to find. Just got a Norway's auction site. I forget what it's called. I think maybe in my mind I'm thinking QXL, but I think it's something else. Again, this one's going to be easier for you to find. These two, I would definitely wait till the end. If you're trying to build this set, you're going to want to get that Mexican and the French first.
All right. One last one in this cover set. Denmark.
Okay. This is the Danish. This is the Danish Swamp Thing 1, and its title is Alec Holland's Ser Skabane. I don't know how to say that. It was published by Rune Press in 1979, and the title in Danish basically translates to Alec Holland's Strange Fate.
Huh.
The interiors are black and white, but they not only contain Swamp Thing Run, but they also contain House of Secrets 92. And this edition rounds it all out with a Bernie Wrightson biography. This is a cool book. It's black and white, but this is a neat one because it's got some. I mean, I love that font, the way they have his name in there, and
yeah, it's very appropriate.
There was some real care. The publisher Rune Press put some real care into creating this book, and it's still vintage. It's still 1979, so
it's
not
a little
like
older.
It's not like it's a modern trade paperback. This is a really cool book. Now, on this book, I'm not sure how hard this one is to find. To be honest, I know guys that have it, but I can't remember any of them saying that this one took a whole long. But what do you think of that? How they changed the artwork here, John?
I think it's because they got that orange yellow background that the blue background isn't as bothersome to me.
Doesn't bother you as much?
The blue on blue is real tough, but this one you get the contrast elsewhere, I think. You still don't see the people as well.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's nearly as distracting as the other versions.
I kind of like it. Almost seems like there's a yellow light shining on his back, huh? Watch, go to the American.
It's like a strobe, like a police light maybe is back there.
Yeah, like a cop is coming in on the scene. Let's compare that. See, it's not, that yellow isn't there at all.
No, there's so much yellow around it, you don't see it, and it doesn't stand out. It gives it a different vibe.
It gives it like it's at night and a cop came up on the scene.
Or a car or something.
Vibe. Yeah, total vibe.
Definitely gives you a different look.
I like this one. I think this one's neat. And like I said, try to find it. I can't really comment on its difficulty.
No, and you said it's more of a book size or a trade size.
It's more of a trade paperback size. It's a perfect bound trade paperback, and I'm gonna assume that it's not that difficult to
Probably
find.
lasted a little longer just being a thicker book.
Yeah, and 1979, it's getting close to the 80s. There's a good chance these were saved.
Absolutely. All right, so we also had 3 non-cover editions we were going to kind of hit on. You said that you've actually found quite a few more, but these were the favorites, I guess.
Yeah, there was probably another 3 or 4 that had the Swampy One story in it, particularly in Sweden and Norway.
Huh.
But the covers were just kind of like a mash. I don't know. These 3 I think I like.
All right, so let's start with the first one. Australia.
This is Swamp Monster 1, published by Murray in 1980. The interiors are black and white, and this one contains Swamp Thing 1 through 4, which is kind of cool.
All right.
Of this issue, the splash pages were removed so that they could combine the story elements into one long story. I don't know why they removed the splash. I didn't see a problem with that. For whatever reason, the publisher did.
Get some ads in there somewhere.
Maybe, yeah. This book also includes Sensation Mystery 115, Unexpected 121. So it has some other DCs. What's interesting about this one, though, is that the cover art comes from a German pulp called Gespenster Creamy. 272, Lucifer's brother. I don't know if that means it's Satan's brother. I don't know.
That's where I'm going with it, but who knows?
Probably not. It probably means probably like Satan's something. Lucifer's brother. The Australian pub flipped the art horizontally.
Yeah,
Not sure why they did that. Isn't that weird?
Yeah, it is.
And
bizarre.
why did they pick it up from a German pulp? Like, who knows? It's just this is an odd
knew
one.
Knew a thing, saw it, liked it.
Yeah, I mean it works. I mean,
Yeah.
I like the eyeball. I like the woman there.
But it's just tough because the other cover is great. Maybe they didn't have the licensing to have the cover.
Maybe it was a licensing thing. Yeah, true. This is an interesting one, and I think if memory serves, I think I've talked to some Wrightson collectors and some Swamp One thing set builders that have told me that for whatever reason, this Swamp Monster book is hard to find in Australia. I think one guy was saying he waited around for like 5 years before he found one.
Wow.
So this one could be tough.
Which is interesting because they're usually not the hardest.
They're usually not, but I seem to remember a Wrightson collector telling me that the Swamp Monster one gave him fits.
All right. So the next one, I can't even imagine how you find it because the country itself is impossible, I would think. Yugoslavia.
This is the EKS Almana. And actually, it's the former Yugoslavia. Yugoslavia doesn't even exist anymore. This is the former Yugoslavia EKS Almana 258. It was published by Desi Novine. I don't know if that's in Serbian. I don't know how to pronounce that. Desi Novine. It came out in 1981. The interiors are all black and white, and all the EKS books that I've ever seen are black and white interiors. But the nice thing about EKS is they're big. This is a magazine size. And it uses the Swamp Thing 6 cover, but it has the guts of number 1. So I really like that. There's also a Shang-Chi story, and there's 2 stories in there that I don't recognize that I think are Serbian. This book, it's not necessarily so tough, but like we've talked about before, you need a way into the country. So if you have a source or know a seller that's selling, EKS books have started to pop up on American eBay. So there's a few Serbian and elsewhere there in the Balkans collectors that have figured out that Americans are buying these EKS books and they're putting them up on eBay. So though back in the day, this was probably an extremely tough book, I think it's probably going to get a little easier as more of these EKS sellers these books out on eBay. As far as cost, I think it's a sweet ass book. I mean, if I could find a really nice one and it was like up on American eBay, I'd pay $100 in a heartbeat for it. It's a badass book. They're cool. Yeah, they're big. And, it's got the classic Swamp Thing 1. It's got this is Swampy 6 is one where Wrightson allows you to see a lot more detail in Swampy's face and his arms. And I love that crazy robot. This is another one of my favorite covers from that run. All of them are just so classic. So this one's got to be included, I think, in the set.
Yeah, absolutely. This is the last one. A little less interesting cover, but we're going to show it.
But I like it because it's got the text on there, and it's such a weird mix. This is the Portuguese Mundo de Aventuras Especial 9, published by Agência Portuguesa de Revistas in 1975. This book contains The King of the Royal Mounted, which is a Dell book from 1952, 18, a Tintin story from the Journal of Tintin, issue 9, and finally, Swamp Thing 1.
What I like about mix of stories.
What a weird. So I included this one because it's such a weird, odd mix. So you're going to get a Canadian Mountie story, Tintin, and then Swamp Thing. That's weird.
Absolutely.
So the kid that read this was like, man, they're going to Canada. Then they're going to, was Tintin, France?
Maybe
then they go to France.
Maybe you had to sneak your horror reading in Portugal in 75.
Maybe they were like, oh, cool, I got this horror. I got the horror on the back. But they do include the title on the cover, so that's cool. I mean, would we have liked them to use the Swamp Thing 1 cover instead of the King of the Royal Mounted Dell 1952? Yeah, I think that's a no-brainer. But I mean, if you're a hardcore Swamp Thing fan, you're gonna want this book. And like I said, there's probably another 4 Swamp Thing 1s, international editions, foreign editions that have the story but don't have the cover. But like I said, I thought that the covers for those were a little boring. And I always want to, with the sets, I always think it's important that we include, we majority focus on the books that do include the cover. And I mean, we touch on these books, but it I don't know. It was just a lot.
Yeah, absolutely.
But they're out there. If you do a little hunting, you can find them.
Absolutely.
Those other ones.
Wanted to finish out just talking about post about a few places, talked about it last episode. I won't say 2 weeks, but on March 13th, 15th, the Northeast ComicCon in Boxborough, Massachusetts will be happening. Myself and a couple other of the team members from the Comic Book Invest CBSI team will be there. We're going to be hosting a couple panels, some interviews, some trivia. I will be doing a small kind of intro to foreign collecting and setting up some books to display and just kind of answer questions and talk about some of my experiences, some of the knowledge I've gained in the last couple of years, and just maybe turn a few more people on to this awesome little group within the hobby. So if you're in the Boston area, it's about 45 minutes outside of Boston, but come out, say hi, maybe see some cool books. So
hang out. I think that'd be super cool to get a bunch of foreign guys to hang out.
Absolutely.
At that show and talk foreigns and bring your foreigns and go to the panel with John and show some books, because you're going to get, what weren't you telling me, John? They're going to provide you some kind of
I'm going to try and get a nice display up and show off some of my favorites, show off some good stuff. See what I have.
That'll be neat.
I'm going to do the exact same thing you did to me 5 years ago. Just inundate them with crazy, and then they're hooked. So
it's like a little bug, right? And then just like you get, just like coronavirus, it somehow enters your system. It percolates in your head a little bit. You start going, I'm getting a little bored with collecting, and then you go, oh shit, there's this whole world out there that I didn't even know existed.
Absolutely. And I was on Nico Time the other day, and you can catch that on the Comic Book Wars podcast channel. But I had said, to me, this was kind of a golden age was getting really expensive to get these unique items that are awesome to have, and say you got a unique item. And I said, well, I can get unique items here, and they're a little more within my budget for the most part.
Yeah, totally.
Adds a little fun back in the hobby of just finding these gems that you've never seen and may not see if you don't look. So,
yeah, exactly.
Thank you all for joining us for another episode. If you like our content, please like, subscribe, hit the little button down in the corner, and comment. Give us some questions. Tell us what you want to see. And thank you all. We'll see you again real soon. Bye, Matt.
Take it easy, John.